career advice in general. A couple things, I guess. One, you be very thoughtful about what you want to do. And sometimes you can't path out the whole thing. But you always want to be thinking forward. And as you think about that path, appreciate the fact that it may not be the best way to that aspiration may not be a straight line. Sometimes a straight line is difficult. Sometimes it's not even good, appropriate. Sometimes a zigzag line is the way to get there. As an example, just a personal experience, when I was, I graduated college and when I worked for a couple of years selling wine. I was a wine salesman in the New York, Connecticut area, and I realized I don't want to be a wine salesman. And so I went to graduate school, and when I got out, that's when I first got the travel bug. I interned at an airline while I was in graduate school, and when I got out, I wanted to work for an airline. So I had offers from 3 airlines, and Continental was one where I had interned. And while the airline was terrible at the time, and we were horrible, the marketing department was brilliant. And so I took a position there that paid a lot less than what United and Northwest were offering me, because I knew that I'm going to learn a hell of a lot more working at Continental under the brilliant leadership of this guy named Earl Quenzel, who's sort of been a mentor to me, than I would have at Northwest or United, even though I would have made more bucks and been able to live in a better apartment. And so it's sort of that, don't mortgage your future just for a quick short-term win if you know what the long-term gain is. And I had a sense for what I wanted to do long-term, and Continental seemed to be the path for me, and the other places weren't. But I guess maybe that's my biggest piece of advice, right? Is think about where it is you want to go, as far into the future as you can see, and appreciate that sometimes you have to go laterally, backwards, sideways, ultimately to get there. Well, I had set sort of milestones for my career, and I had these sort of silly things in my head that I wanted to be at this level by a certain age and stuff. And so I had I liked working at Continental quite a lot, but when I left there, was what's called a managing director, like a senior director, and I realized that I wasn't going to hit my career goal there. And it's not as though they didn't like me and I didn't like them, but my boss had been in that job for a while, and he was very comfortable there. And I knew what I wanted to do, so there were lateral opportunities, but I didn't want them. I knew what I wanted to do, so in that case, I had to find a career outside of Continental. And, still love the company and all that, but in order to hit my goals, I had to go elsewhere. So, so when I came here, best decision I ever made, thankfully. So while when I was at Continental, I had the sort of zig and zag a bit. Just taking that job was a bit of a step back for the start. I took on a second role. My second job there was not quite what I wanted it to be. It was more of an operations role, and I liked the marketing side of it, but I realized that everything that I did as a marketer had to be implemented, and I need to understand that side of it. So I went to a role called manager of operations before I went back into what was then called the marketing program side. So I went from manager of marketing programs over to manager of operations, back into marketing programs, so that I would be a fuller marketer, right? So I don't regret any of my decisions, but it wasn't a straight line.